Alright, so this here is my apology for the inability to stay within character in the next video. So I apologize for that. I realize that I spent way too much time talking as the DM as opposed to actually speaking as the bard. So for anybody that sticks around and watches that video, first of all, thank you for watching. Second of all, I apologize for that inconsistency. So, here we go.
Well, if it isn't the missing bard, where have you been hiding?
Out trying to sleep off whatever it is that you serve me here, man. Because what you serve here that's some strong stuff. I appreciate it, but it's some strong stuff. It just kind of occurred to me that I don't know your name. It seems kind of weird, but hey, what's your name?
Bartholomew Tender, but you can call me Bar for short if you like.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Your name is Bartender. Okay. Cool. Nice to meet you. Are you trying to tell me that you missed me?
What kind of tavern is it? If there isn't at least one down on their luck wannabe bards spinning tales to strangers that don't care to listen.
Alright. That's fair enough, I guess. So I suppose it would be the polite thing to ask, what's the name of your tavern? Because I just realized I have never even looked at the sign out front. So, what's the name of your tavern?
All this time, and you're just now asking the name of the place? Tender mercy. Respect the bar. Fight stops at the door. Everyone gets a fair drink.
Okay, fair drink. I like that. I think most patrons do appreciate the idea of a fair drink. I'm sure a lot of them would question what fair really means in this context, but hey, you know what? I'll deal with it. You're a half-orc tavern keeper named Bartender. You realize that, as a bard, I'm really gonna want to try and get your story, right? I mean, credit where credit's due. If I'm spending all this time at the Tender Mercy, I might as well give you credit. But it is what it is. Oh. So, you're telling me that you want me to keep telling my tales? Yeah, I got you, brother.
Prestidigitation.
Alright, so, shoot, got rid of this, took glasses off. I mean, that's prestidigitation, right? And I'm sorry for anybody that had to hear my singing voice. But that's how bards are supposed to do magic, right? Sing their way through it all. Yeah. So, I am going to shorten my tales a little bit because I've kind of realized that perhaps, 20-minute videos of whatnot is perhaps a little bit too long. And this is supposed to be Bard tales. It's supposed to be individual tales, not a grand story. Although there's going to be quite a bit of the tales that I'm going to tell that are going to be following the campaigns, the whole thing, the whole plot line, right? But for now, I'm going to switch to another tale. And this does fall out of order for all the previous stories, so just keep in mind that kind of stuff is going to happen from now on. Alright. Now, this tale is all about the Temple of Sin. Yes, sin, as in the 7 deadly sins. You know, wrath, lust, gluttony, all that kind of stuff. Alright, now, our previous group of adventurers, like I said, it's a little bit out of order, but they had heard that there was a temple of, well, they didn't know it was the Temple of Sin, but they knew there was a quote-unquote dungeon that they needed to go to. So, traveling on, real quick, I just have to share this little story. One of the players, the one that, his character, who was the Ellen, also was the Goliath and various things. They were searching around. He rolled a 1 on his search check. So all I told him was that you find a piece of stone. It's a perfectly circular piece of stone. It's like, a little globe. So he assumed, and it led to many laughs, that stone had to have a reason for existing. It had to be something that was a plot point. It wasn't. It's the result of your 1. Ha ha, ha ha, ha ha. So he kept this perfectly round stone throughout the entire time that character existed. So, now, continuing their trip, they did come to the Temple of Sin, right? And basically, what it was is, once you went into the temple, as you traveled down the long hallway, right, there were quote-unquote traps along the way that were all related to the various sins. Okay, so for instance, let me just look at my notes here. Alright, so the sin of wrath. Basically, you walked through there, you didn't find the trap, it bestowed a curse on you. And what that curse did is that every time you entered into combat, you entered into a blind rage. So you would attack anybody and everybody until there was no other opponents to fight. Okay, let's see. I'm looking through my notes here. Haha. Right, envy. Right. Again, it bestowed a curse. Okay, and so the one affected by the curse, because it was a random chance, whoever it was that triggered the trap. Let's see, the curse basically said that whomever that affected person was, whoever the player was, their greatest competition for dominance in the party And then they had to do whatever they could to hinder that player, both in and out of combat. So, the worst wingman ever. Something along those lines, right? Now, so there was a variety of curses that were all laid out through this thing. And it made sense, 7 deadly sins. So we're gonna have people deal with a bunch of curses. Now, what ended up happening after that, okay, is that they found Sin. And Sin is her name. Okay? Now, Sin is roughly related to the princess that was discussed in previous videos, right? And due to the fact that she's related to a succubus, or the queen of succubus, I should say, Malconthad, right? She was disruptive. It's a nice way to phrase it, right? Disruptive. Yeah. So that was Sin, and then she had 2 daughters that lived in this temple with her. Okay? Now, it ended up being a fight. And, it's a dungeon. Of course it's going to end up in a fight. And so the players had to take down the 2 daughters, and then they were able to talk Sin into more of a peaceful resolution. Yeah, we'll call it peaceful. And so that all just kind of transpired, and it led to other things, which are other tales. But going forward, it would be a really good thing to remember the name of Sin. Because Sin will become very relevant in further tales that I tell. Now, how relevant? Well, you'll find out. But I just figured I would tell this little tale of, going into a temple that it was designed to prey upon the weaknesses, the impulses of the players. Wrath tends to be an easy one to prey on with players, because there's a lot of players that love combat. I mean, I've heard that the 3 greatest words in the English language are roll for initiative. So that should tell you pretty much all you need to know about that. But yeah, there's all sorts of things that you can do with that, especially if you've got a player that really kind of leans into the whole I want to be a dragon, or I have dragon blood because I'm a sorcerer, or anything to do with dragons. That's a good one to prey on greed. So that is just my short tale of going into the Temple of Sin. One of the things that they found later, there was a summoning circle that summoned one of the Beta Zoo. Just all sorts of different things like that. But I don't want to tell every tale right now. So that's the tale you get for now. Now, like I said, there's other tales that I want to tell, and other tales that I will tell. But hopefully, you can view this, listen to the tale that I tell, and enjoy it, and know that there are more tales to come.